Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Mordenkainen.
And we got Mordenkainens to keep talking about.
Yay!
So, big announcement again for all of those who are watching on YouTube and for those of you who are watching on Twitch. You might see the little YouTube icon in the chat. That's because we're now restreaming to both again. First time for the D&D podcast. So welcome the D&D podcast to the YouTube side for streaming, which is pretty exciting.
It is.
And,
I'm enjoying it.
You know, we're hoping to be able to continue to grow. The channel's been growing pretty steadily, and the podcast views have been going up on both.
Right.
The D&D podcast and the regular podcast, the Tuesday night show. So why not go ahead and stream them and be able to give people more chance to be in the chat
and more options to watch it on what they want to watch it on too. So
absolutely, I am so stoked for G Generation Eternal. I cannot tell you how excited. I'm really hopeful it's not a gotcha, because if it is, I have to play it, and that's going to be a problem. But I am so stoked for G Generation Eternal.
Yeah, you definitely need to show up for Tuesday night.
Yeah,
sure.
We talked a good bit about that when it first got announced, Iggy.
Because a statement like that can derail an episode for like 45 minutes.
That's very true. It's very true. And it did on that episode that I had to do by myself. It did. That started like a whole topic.
Wow. Perfect.
So, speaking of topics, we have been covering Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. We've been covering the races. We went through all of the race changes that had happened, and now we were covering what we think the best classes are for the races that have been changed.
Yes. Yeah. So we've got a few more to go.
Yes.
On this to pick the best class for this race. Now, where do we stop?
We stopped on Kinku. We had just finished Hobgoblin. We had not yet started Kinku.
Oh, so we're doing Kinku.
I'm co-op. I'm down. That's all I'm saying. I'm down. I'm up. That's how down I am. I'm actually up.
Okay.
For co-op. Gundam.
All right.
Kinku. So, yeah, we covered Hobgoblin last, and we have just a few races left to go, and then we'll be tackling the monsters that are in this book, and I'm very excited to get to those. But this was a lot of fun last week, and for anybody who missed it, please go back and watch last week's show, because we put a lot of thought into that, and I thought come up with some really good variations.
Yes.
So, awesome. I understand.
Oh.
I understand. Oh, there's no question of if I'm getting it. There are games that automatically get budgeted for the year for me, for the channel, and the Gundam games are always those, and sometimes they suck. But I bought it with my own money for the sake of review. So let's get into Kinku here, because we will get caught down this Gundam rabbit hole if we're not careful.
True.
Or would you say this Gundam crow hole, because it's a Kinku?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Raven hole? That would have made more sense.
Stop saying something and then hole.
So, this Kinku hole. Kinku, of course, as we talked about, they're still medium, but they can also be small now.
Right.
They have their Kinku recall that lets them recall 2 skill proficiencies of their choice. And whenever they make an ability check using any skill in which they have proficiency, they can give themselves advantage on the check before rolling the d20.
Yeah.
Which is very good. Then they have the mimicry, of course, and they have the expert duplication. Obviously, rogue is the go-to, right?
Yeah.
I actually think they can also be really good bards.
Yes, they can, especially just for the proficiency thing, right? Being able to grab that. That's just those two, and I don't see the need to go down to I guess like maybe investigator.
Yeah.
Under rogue, if you want to get like really on it.
Yeah.
Best thing.
That's New Gundam Breaker Dark. That's the terrible one. Gundam Breaker 3 is really good, but it's not on Steam.
New
Gundam Breaker.
I'm trying to think outside what it would be, but with those things, being able to do those proficiencies like that, it's just bard and then rogue, especially investigation.
Oh yeah. It's made for the rogue. You know, you can go ranger, you can go arcane archer. You can go anything with it, but if you're not playing a rogue and you're playing a Kinku, you are missing out on options there, because they're very good. I guess sorcerer is another option that really lets you like dig into the charisma. the
Yeah, but
deception.
can you imagine this is your character, a bard, maybe College of Swords, something like that. But that's a spy in the
Yeah.
city. I mean, you've got, unless it's just like, no, they're going to kill all Kenku on sight. You've got
You're good.
really get in.
You're
you
good.
know? You're kind of set up to take advantage of a lot of situations in that area.
It's very clear what choices I think you can get from that, and I think this next one doesn't really work as clearly. I think this one's
Okay.
going to be some discussion.
All right.
That's kobolds. So kobolds have changed, as we talked about. The draconic cry that with anything within 10 feet of them enemy-wise till the start of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those enemies that could hear you, and you can use it equal to your proficiency bonus. You get either craftiness or defiance or draconic sorcery.
Yeah.
Craftiness, of course, being arcana, investigation, medicine, sleight of hand, or survival proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Defiance being advantage on saving throws to avoid or end frightened. And draconic sorcery, which is a cantrip of your choice from the sorcerer spell list. Int which you choose.
Yeah.
Obviously, sorcerer's not a bad pick for that.
Yeah, man, but I really like monk for this.
I do too.
I really
do
like
too.
a monk for this. Just a monk, and maybe it's a role play part of my brain coming up.
Yeah.
Because that monk giving advantage like that with a cry, monk just making that party that much better.
I also think a kobold paladin
Paladin would
with
be good.
defiance, so it has
Yeah.
advantage on being frightened.
Yeah.
That runs up and just gives that cry of like, "Hey, all of you have advantage. I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna block this.
Yeah.
Beat it up." It's very good.
It is.
And then of course with craftiness, rogue and bard aren't bad choices either.
No, I had a lot. And Arcana is an interesting proficiency to get.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
Because there's strange times that can come into play.
Especially if you're not a caster, but you take that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be any variant of caster, I think draconic sorcery is the right one to choose because you get a free cantrip.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with anything.
Yeah.
For a free cantrip.
And it's from the sorcerer spell list, so
It's not bad.
you get some good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's much harder to choose there. My next bard weapon of choice would be a guitar.
Heck yeah.
Guitar bards are pretty solid. That's all I'm saying.
Next.
You knew it was coming. This is how long we've worked together now that you can just tell when I'm about to tell a really stupid joke. Speaking of really stupid jokes, let's talk about what they've done to Lizard Man. Lizard folk. Lizard folk got shafted. No, the new stuff with Lizard folk is okay, right?
Yeah.
The bite that is 1d6 plus strength mod and it's slashing instead of bludgeoning for the unarmed strike. That's very good.
Yes.
Monk obviously stands out right away with that.
Yeah.
Being able to hold your breath for up to 15 minutes at a time
Yes.
means that there are actually some really cool like elemental stuff you can do with that.
True.
Wizard, sorcerer, warlock, way of the elements, monk. Hungry Jaws, being as a bonus action, you can make a special attack with your bite. If it hits, you deal normal damage and gain temp HP equal to your proficiency bonus. Honestly, that makes for a really strong barbarian, paladin.
There's a few things that could be.
Fighter.
To a question in chat, a bite's not bludgeoning.
It's always been slashing.
It's always that. What problem is an unarmed strike. Unarmed strikes are usually considered bludgeoning.
Yes.
Now, if you've got a toothless lizard,
That could be really fun.
yeah, it's bludgeoning damage.
It's toothless.
But another one I was thinking of was, they're just clarifying their own words for the difference between rules as written.
Thankfully, because otherwise people would be like,
going, no, that's bludgeoning damage.
"Oh, it's an unarmed strike. Just because you're biting them doesn't mean you get slashing damage." Like, but it's with my fangs.
Right. But another one, if you're in the right campaign, an assassin would be awesome with it. 15 minutes of water.
Yes.
Like a
And-
water deep campaign.
Yes. Don't forget, natural armor is AC 13 plus your dex mod.
Yeah.
So an assassin automatically has a better AC because of that. That's also where monk shines really well.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot you can do here. And then, of course, nature's intuition, animal handling, medicine, nature perception, stealth, survival. You get 2 of those with that.
Yeah.
Makes druid okay with it as well. You know?
But I mean, you're going to be getting all those through the druid anyway. The class you're going. So I don't know that druid really stand. I mean, they all scream druid for the list, but
Yes.
I don't know. It's not a bad one. I think for me, I'm gonna go with that assassin, especially for just the. I know not every campaign is gonna have water in it,
Right.
but if I can, I don't know.
I think I'm gonna go for the weird pick, and I'm gonna go for barbarian.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say, hey, you go strength dex. You don't worry about your con because your armor's already gonna be taken care of from your natural armor, and then you get that proficiency bonus HP back every bonus action that you use there, because you get to use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So it's just, hey, I'm gonna make a bite. I'm healing for 3. Next turn, I'm make a bite. I'm healing for 3, and because I'm having all the damage from most normal attacks, I'm healing up a lot more than I would be otherwise, while still doing 1d6 plus strength mod.
Well, the bite attack you do as a what?
As a bonus action.
So even a fighter,
Yeah.
action surge, bite again.
Yeah.
You know, you can.
6 HP is 6 HP.
Yeah. So it's not bad. It's kind of a played right. There's a lot of things that come out of it, but
So I feel like even with the changes to this, we have some like very obvious choices here for Minotaur.
yeah.
Horns 1d6 plus strength mod piercing instead of bludgeoning for unarmed strike. They have the Goring Rush, where they can take the dash action on their turn, move at least 20 feet. They can make a melee attack with their horns as a bonus action. And then, of course, they have the Hammering Horde.
Yeah.
How about a sneeze?
Sneeze away. Sneeze now. Bless yourself.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I've been doing
Another one again.
again, too.
Bless you again, sir.
Oh, get a sneeze counter on here. After you hit a creature with melee attack as part of an attack action on your turn, you use bonus action to attempt to push that target with your horns. Must be within 5 feet of you, no more than one size larger than you.
Yeah.
Other than Labyrinthine Recall, which is worthless in this situation, thank you. I feel like Fighter, Barbarian, Paladin, Cleric, Monk,
Yeah.
Rogue even, like they're all really solid. Rogue may be the least of those, but any martial class is great as a Minotaur.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I like the idea of the paladin.
Yeah.
You know, pushing. You know, you got the ability to push things back a little bit,
Right.
charging into battle.
Yeah. And just slam into them.
Yeah. And that. I mean, it's just a few feet. It's not enough to push them out of your auras.
Right.
It's enough, you know.
I agree.
They're still going to be in your aura. It might push them out of their attack range, or they'll have to do something to attack you again.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Paladin's probably the right choice here. Though I could see a really interesting Battle Master that just has more options to move people.
Yeah. I move people around the battlefield is what I do.
That's how I fight. You're not going to be where you were at the start of the fight before the fight's over.
All right, what we got next?
Orcs. And we looked at this, and when we were talking about it, it was very obvious what the choices were here. Orc Barbarian is going to be insane.
Yeah, Orc Barbarian's going to be very tough.
Just for the sake of covering it, of course, Adrenaline Rush, dash action as a bonus action, equal to your proficiency bonus. You just get that, you know. You also get temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus every time you use it, which, just like we talked about with the Lizard Folk earlier, you're not taking a lot of damage as a Barbarian, so you're healing yourself from that damage you took.
Yeah.
And then Relentless Endurance, if you drop to 0 and not killed outright, you're to 1 instead. So, and Barbarians get that built in, depending on what Barbarian you are, so you have 2 saves.
And if somebody's playing for the first time, you want to give them an easy out. This Minotaur with a champion, would be very simple, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, especially, and you could, they would have, you know, it's set up to have dramatic moments.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be in the fight. They're going to be holding it together. What percentage of Xbox players want full realistic graphics, and what percentage want in the middle of both arcade and realistic? I think the vast majority of people nowadays think they want realistic graphics. And I think this generation is proving to them that they don't. Because I think what people really want is just fun games.
Yeah.
And this generation is reminding people, hey, maybe it's not all about the graphics.
Yeah, we talked about that. There's no excuse if if you want the game to be beautiful, there's no excuse for it to be beautiful.
Yeah. Decent graphics. Yeah. I don't mind if a game doesn't have good graphics as long as the gameplay's fun.
Yeah.
But if the gameplay's not fun and it doesn't have good graphics,
well, you know, Lord of the Rings got a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
Yeah.
And it's not the graphics that are getting it.
Right.
So, you know, I think there's a few of them we could probably look up and pull up.
Oh, for sure.
That have a high score, high satisfaction.
for sure. Well, like people talk about how great Elden Ring looks, and it does look good, but that's not why I wanted to play it.
Right.
You know, the cool vistas and scenarios were also great to see,
Yeah, but
but I'd have played it if it looked like garbage.
but also on that one, if I say, hey, name the top 5 graphical games that came out in the past 2 years, you're probably not going to be on the list.
Probably not. No, probably not.
You know, the best looking games.
Yeah.
But they got strip everything else. They're probably not going to be on the list.
No.
Maybe not even the top 10.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. You know what else has a good point? Sater's horns. Let's talk about Sater.
yeah, this is
Forza Motorsport wants to go full realistic. I think it's different for racing games, though. I think unless you're doing like Hot Wheels stuff, racing games should probably go.
yeah. They also offer under Gran Turismo and Forza usually they have an arcade mode. They have and then you make it as realistic as you would like.
Yeah, because that's if you're going to be racing in a car, you want that car to look good.
There's lots of settings.
Yeah, although I'm the guy who still boots up Road Rage and plays it with the chain swinging.
Yeah. Good soundtrack.
Yeah. So, Saters, they can ram, right? 1d6 strength mod, bludgeoning damage. It's really interesting to me the way they worded this. I didn't notice it when we covered it last time. When you hit with them, the strike deals 1d6 plus your strength mod bludgeoning damage instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike.
Read that again?
So it's just them saying it's the strength mod based bludgeoning damage instead of just flat bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
But I want to read it again and see if your brain also goes, huh?
It did.
When you hit with them, the strike deals 1d6 plus your strength modifier bludgeoning damage instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. What they
Okay,
mean
so you
there
get a
is
plus
just
3?
instead of the normal damage.
Right, you're going to get your modifier.
But because it's bludgeoning as compared to slashing or piercing bludgeoning, it makes it seem really weird.
Why is Satyr horn damage consistent?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Probably because they curve, right?
They do
So
the
it'd be
same
bludgeoning.
thing every time.
Yeah.
I understand it being bludgeoning.
But,
you're
yeah.
gonna you get if your strength is +3, you're going to do 3 damage each time.
Right.
Yeah.
So magic resistance, saving advantage on saving throws against spells. Right away, that tells me this would be an incredible wizard for point blank fireballs. This would be an incredible warlock. This would be an incredible bard. This would be incredible druid. Hey, I need to cast firewall, and I'm casting it in my square, and I'm gonna try and dive out of it. You know, full remaster from the ground up. Gran Turismo 4 was very good. GT4 was a very good game. It was a very good game. I would play it again for sure if it was fully remastered.
Yeah, I think I'd rather them take the great stuff out of GT4 though,
And put it into a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
and
I agree.
improve on what they missed.
Give me a new GT that plays like 3 and 4.
Yeah.
You also have the mirthful leaps. When you make a long jump or a high jump, you roll a d8 and add the number rolled instead. That's not going to be super handy for most of your fighting classes.
What's weird is that's not now,
Right.
but before that would have been powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's so strange. And up to 8 feet on it.
It's really weak compared to the Harengon's leap, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is better used
Also
as an
completely
escape.
different. Completely different.
Right. This, I would say, you use as an escape
Yeah.
to get out of a bad situation. And then, of course, you have proficiency in performance and persuasion.
Right.
So bards, not a
Yeah.
bad choice.
Yeah. But if Satyr doesn't somehow fall under Bard, they've done the Satyr wrong.
Right. I just think you could have a really fun, close casting wizard with this.
A little bit. Yeah. Like just a nutty evocation.
Yeah. Like,
Satyr
hey, I
wizard.
don't care. I'm going to be fine. So, bam. You know, you can't dodge this fireball.
Oh, a Tempest Cleric.
Oh, Tempest Cleric would be very good with this. Yeah. A Tempest Cleric Satyr.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, that'd be
like
fun.
that.
That'd be fun.
All right.
Next up is the Sea Elf. Of course, they can breathe air and water, have resistance to cold damage. They have the Fey ancestry. They're friends of the sea, so they can speak with animals. The animals can't speak back, just clarify. Don't forget that. They're proficient in perception, and they have the new variant of trance, where they can change their 2 proficiencies, each one with a weapon or tool of their choice, every time they trance. Realistically, I wish I could tell you that there was a cool, crazy one to go with here, but you're either going to go caster or like ranger or fighter.
Unfortunately, the way these are set up, It's almost like if someone. I'd rather just run the whole group as aquatic creatures.
Yeah. There's no real benefit to running a sea elf other than, hey, it's cool.
Yeah, ranger in the right. You know, if you're in the right spot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in an aquatic campaign, Ranger Sea Elf is going to be great.
Yeah.
But
really, nothing just stands out. Though,
yeah,
you know?
there's nothing that makes you go, hey, this is going to be best for this, you know? Aquatic creatures. I mean,
yeah,
you know, they can speak to fish.
Yeah, you could run a group of clerics.
Have you heard the good news of our Lord and Savior, the Kraken? What was the Kraken in Critical Role?
I don't know.
Kuatoa? No, that's the fish people.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to have Kuatoa now as a giant fish person god.
Which is a race we didn't get. In this.
No, unfortunately. The half sea elf, half Pegatar.
Yes.
Next up, we have the Shatterkai. And Shatterkai, I think, are a little bit easier to pick out, right? So they have the Blessing of the Raven Queen. They basically have Misty Step.
Mm-hmm.
They have their Keen Senses for perception.
Yes.
They have resistance to necrotic damage. Shatterkai is going to be a great fighter. It's going to be a great ranger. It's going to be a great rogue.
Can we just, once again, repeat the resistance to necrotic damage?
Yeah, Krakatoa, that's it. Thank you.
Because that's the...
That's dang good.
Yeah. Because at higher levels, that's... You're good as a higher level DM. You're going to be using necrotic damage more often. It's not something you throw out very often. It's like a oh crap moment.
Yeah.
As at lower levels, at higher levels, it's like all right, this is where our damage is coming from.
Right. Yeah, we have to kill that thing first.
Yeah. So the resistance to that is just unbelievable.
It is, and honestly, because of that, you could go barbarian, paladin. Any class is going to be a good choice for this.
I think so. I mean, a
So
cleric would be
good.
good because
Yeah.
with the damage, would just be the turn undead with the resistance to necrotic damage. You know.
Also, just throwing this out there, lest we forget, their Misty Step is special because at 3rd level, they get resistance to all damage when they teleport using this trait. And it lasts until the start of their next turn.
Now be whatever you want.
So, a druid that Misty Steps in has resistance next turn, wild shapes, has a brand new health bar, is still resistant to necrotic damage.
Yeah.
A cleric that Misty Steps in basically with Blessing of the Raven Queen and just gets in there, you know, paladin with their auras. I think if I had to choose one, I don't think it's really necessarily worth it to double up the resistance because you don't get to double up resistance with barbarian.
Oh yeah.
So I would say paladin would be a great choice for this. Cleric would be a great choice for this. You just jump in there and, hey, this is my battlefield now. Battlemaster Fighter. I know I go back to Battlemaster Fighter all the time.
Yeah, but there is certain things that go with that. I think, man, a life cleric would be just really cool.
Yeah.
I've had enough. I'm stepping in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you won't stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It. There's a lot of good choices for that. Shifters are next, and look, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of good choices here.
Yeah.
But my brain just goes druid.
Druid's really good.
Because you can shift,
Yeah.
and then when that transformation drops and your temporary hit points drop from that, you wild shape.
Yeah.
And it's good. And because you can do both like multiple times,
Yes.
you just constantly have temporary hit points.
Yeah. You can absorb a lot of damage.
Yeah, you're very good. I do think monk is also not a bad choice, depending on which of the shifting actions you choose.
Yeah.
Swift stride, giving you an increase of 10 feet, means that, hey, guess what? You can just keep going as a monk, especially since you get that extra 10 feet as a reaction when a creature ends its turn within 5 feet of you, and it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. You basically then can move anywhere as you want on the battlefield as a monk.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, that's true.
But
It's very true.
again, with this is
Go
another
right
one of
around,
those.
Stun everything.
Right? It's another one of those that there's not really a bad choice, but I definitely think that, like Druid, you basically won't die if you play it right.
Yeah.
You're
You know,
good.
once you get up a few levels,
Mm-hmm.
you can get your proficiency bonus up.
Yep. So it's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Next up's Tabaxi, and it hasn't changed enough to change what I already would say is the best choice for Tabaxi, which is Monk.
Yeah.
It just got better for Monk because now you get to choose slashing or bludgeoning, and it's 1d6.
Yeah.
So-
it just got better for Monk. I don't know there's much of a discussion to have. You can be a Tabaxi open hand monk can be played as simple or as complex as need to be. And that's not something you can say for every
Pop, pop, pop.
yeah, just how are you going to do it?
Mm-hmm. Turtles.
Mm.
We have 3 more, by the way, Turtle being one of them.
Okay.
Turtles can hold their breath for an hour.
Yeah.
Turtles have a insane AC.
Yes.
They can withdraw into their shell and get a +4 bonus to that AC. And then, of course, they have proficiency with one of animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. And, of course, their claws do 1d6 strength slashing instead of bludgeoning. Personal opinion, this is your tank.
Yeah, but man, another one that would make such a great druid.
It would. And I've got my weird pick for this one.
Yeah.
Turtle Artificer is really strong because it doesn't move very fast.
Yeah.
It's got a high AC. Oh, you got an ad just now? Okay, 37 minutes in. That's weird. Why is the ad there? 3 ads this time. What is going on, Twitch? This is not what we agreed on. This is not what we agreed on. But no, an Artificer that, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to get over there very quick, but I've got the cannon. And you have to come to me to stop me firing this cannon at you.
Yeah.
Or I've got the medic bot and I'm here to save you, you know, and you can't bring me down while I'm doing it.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
For 24 hours straight. That's a long time. All right, Dark.
All right.
Okay.
Technically true.
Technically correct.
Yeah.
All right. I promise I will look into this ads and figure out what's going on. I don't understand why it's doing that. I'm so sorry. That's not what I told it to do.
We had just for the record, but just about an even playing field all the way across. We had a big battle royale at 20th level, 10 and 10, and the one that won it was a turtle, and it was his defense that won it for him.
Yeah.
Hands down, and the stuff that he could do.
Welcome back.
Ah,
Really upset about those ads.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm livid right now, but I'm not gonna let it bring me down. We had an agreement, Twitch. I told you what I wanted, and you said no. Okay. Tritons.
okay.
So, Tritons, of course, air and water, but they have some things that sea elves could probably use to be able to like make them stand out.
Yeah.
Control air and water, where they can cast Fog Cloud, and then Gust of Wind, and then Water Walk. This is a great support class. This is great.
Well, just having Fog Cloud also makes it also screens rogue just for the advantage on attacks. You can
For
do
sure.
that.
You can have a great wizard. You can have a great cleric. You can have a great druid. And then, of course, they can communicate simple ideas to any beast, elemental, or monstrosity that's swimming speed. So a lot of good options there.
Yeah.
Really upset about these ads. And then they have resistance to cold damage. So, you know, that's nice.
You know that I think a ranger is a solid class for this too.
Yeah,
And especially if you're playing a coastal game, golly.
for sure.
Huh.
Ranger with a pitchfork. Not pitchfork. What's
trident.
it called? Trident. Thank you.
Yeah. It's so weird. These shouldn't. I don't know. These shouldn't feel so much different than the sea elf.
I
And
agree,
They should
but
be. They should be.
they
They
should
should
be
be
pretty-
stronger. We should be going for this. We should definitely be going melee class and CLs, maybe
Casters.
ranged or casters,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
But it just doesn't quite get there. I don't think.
Right. I have some jokes I could make, but I will refrain. Yuan Ti are our last race to go over here. And magic resilience, saving throws against spells, poison resilience, and serpentine spellcasting mean that this is a great arcane trickster.
Mm.
This is a great warlock. This is a great
Yeah.
sorcerer. This is a great wizard. This is a great eldritch knight.
I like the an assassin as well, just
Yeah.
because of the poisons you could mess with,
For sure.
safer than other people could.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a lot. There's a lot for this.
You're breaking. Yeah, I had to hold
Water
back.
pitchfork, yeah.
I had some jokes. I had to hold back. No, I think for sure your rogue ranger and then casters are like the go-tos for these for me.
I think so. Yeah.
They weren't pure blood. They came from snakes.
No,
they're
they
part
weren't.
human. Yeah.
No.
Now they're just Yuan-Tis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Water pitchfork. Yeah, that's what we call them.
Right.
Water pitchforks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, did you get the mob together? Get your pitchforks. I brought my water pitchfork.
Is a pitchfork made of water or is it a pitchfork for water?
No, it just got 3 teals on it like a fork.
Okay.
What? So do pitchforks. No, pitchforks have 4. How many tines do forks have?
3, 4. It depends.
Why is it not standardized?
Because some things don't need to be.
I'm not even. This is not a bit. I just realized it's not standardized, and my mind is blown. Huh.
There you go.
All right. Well, anywhere from 3 to like 7. That's chaotic evil. We're not doing this. We're not doing chaotic evil pitchforks with 7 tines. What is this, the Book of Revelation?
No, that's no that's the menorah pitchfork. That's,
Yeah.
The one in the middle is actually a little bit longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the class or the races, right?
Yes.
That is all the races that are in this book. We've gone over them for a full deep dive, and then we've gone back over what we think the classes would be. We do still have some time in today's show.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and dip our toes
All right.
into
The monsters.
the monsters.
All right. Excellent.
And
What are we fighting first?
so right off the bat,
Okay.
I'm going to let you know there's a lot of monsters in this book.
Mm-hmm.
I did not count them, but
Ran out of toes.
I am like 78% sure that we're going to be on this book for another month.
Okay.
So just giving you a heads up. But these monsters are sick. So it's okay. We're starting off with Abishai's.
Okay.
And so Abishai's, each one was once a mortal who somehow won Tiamat's flavor. Retake? Somehow won Tiamat's
Don't Google that.
favor before death, and as a reward found its soul transformed into a draconic devil to serve at her pleasure in the 9 health. Each type of Abishai is associated with one of Tiamat's 5 dragon heads: black, blue, green, red, and white.
Yeah.
They're agents of Tiamat and do her bidding. And they will be given their own chain of command, but they answer to Tiamat and sometimes Asmodeus, depending on how you use them. Other archdevils can make them work for them, of course, but that's not what they really go for, if they can help it.
Yeah.
Because if the order goes against Tiamat, then Tiamat is going to destroy them. So,
Yeah.
So we start off with black Abishais, which are the assassins and infiltrators. They are armor class 15. Okay. 98 plus 18 hit points are averaging 58.
Okay.
Speed of 30, fly of 40.
Fly. Okay.
They have resistance to cold. And for anybody who's never heard us go over monsters, we don't go over their saving throws or their skills because a lot of that stuff you homebrew anyway, depending on where you're throwing them at. But we do go over all of their resistance because that's the stuff you mostly use anyway.
Yeah.
They're resistant to cold, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered.
Okay.
So just like old Abishai's.
Yeah.
And then they're immune to acid, fire, and poison.
Okay.
The condition immunities are poisoned as a condition. They have dark vision for 120 feet and a passive perception of 16, which is pretty good. Their challenge rating is 7, and they can speak Draconic and Infernal with telepathy up to 120 feet.
The challenge rating 7.
Yeah.
Their hit point showed that. Their AC doesn't.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Make a 7th level character and roll. You're going to be hitting 15 quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess these are the
However-
spies.
They are. Only pitchforks have 2 to 10 tides. You're going to get me on these tides. They have the Devil's Sight, which means the magical darkness doesn't impede their dark vision.
Okay.
They have magical resistance, saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Multi-attack, 1 bite attack, 2 scimitar attacks. Bite is plus 6 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1d10 plus 3 piercing, plus 2d8 acid.
Okay.
So pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then the scimitar is plus 6 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1d6 plus 3 force damage. And they get to do 2 of those plus the bite attack every time they attack. Then they have a recharge, Creeping Darkness. The Abishai casts darkness at a point within 120 feet of it, requiring no spell components or concentration. Wisdom is its spellcasting ability for the spell. While the spell persists, the Abishai can move the area of darkness up to 60 feet as a bonus action. And then, while in dim light or darkness, it takes the hide action as a bonus action.
Okay.
So these things can just vanish on you.
Yeah. It might be a tough fight, but it seems to me if the barb or the fighter corners it,
Yeah,
it's not gonna last long.
right. As long as they have silvered weapons. Otherwise, it's resistant to their attacks.
Well, I mean, CR7. So you're saying you're talking about 4 characters at 7th level.
Yeah.
You got to have some special crap going on for them not to have magic weapons
I
at
agree.
that point.
I agree.
Or your DM's a dick.
Right. That's also possible. I would run probably like 2 to 3 of these in an encounter, maybe
think
more,
so.
depending.
I think so.
But-
which is a little bit different than the spy mentality of it.
Right.
But it could, rolls could go the wrong way, and it could be pretty deadly
Yeah, it could be.
with the attacks and stuff.
And especially since it's got advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Like, it's very good.
Yeah.
Easier to lift smaller stuff, less times. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a spear is technically a one-time pitchfork then.
Absolutely.
More you know.
Yes.
Blue Abishais. I'd like to try and cover the Abishais tonight if we can, just so
Okay.
I never have to say the word Abishai again.
All right.
Blue Abishais are the seekers of forgotten lore and lost relics. They're more cunning.
Yeah.
They are challenge rating 17.
Yeah, that's
A little bit of a jump.
Quite a jump.
19 AC, 202 hit points.
Okay. Yeah.
Speed 30, fly 50.
Nice.
They have resistance to all the same.
Okay.
Cold, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, non-magical that aren't silvered.
Right.
They're immune to fire, lightning, and poison, which makes them very tough to take down.
Yeah.
You play an Abishai. They're immune to poison, of course, as a condition. Then they have the same telepathy, Draconic and Infernal.
Uh-huh.
They have Devil Sight still. They have magical resistance still. This is where things get interesting, though. Their multi-attack is 3 bite or lightning strike attacks.
Wow.
Bite is +8 to hit.
Yeah.
Retake. 2d10 plus 2 piercing and 4d6 lightning,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the lightning strike is a ranged attack with +12 to hit, range of 120 feet, single target for 8d8 lightning damage. Just bam.
Bam. Yeah. That's
Name a character,
good, man.
Abishai. Oh no.
Abby normal.
It also has spellcasting. At wills are Disguise Self, Mage Hand, and Minor Illusion, which are all very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then twice a day, because monsters still have dailies,
Yes.
Charm Person, Dispel Magic, Greater Invisibility, and Wall of Force. As if this thing wasn't already a pretty good threat, it also has a bonus action Teleport. And it teleports with anything it's wearing or carrying up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. This is a pretty good monster.
It is. That's a well right. I believe that monster's CR17.
Yeah.
I believe I could take that with 417th level, and there's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, this is going to be a good fight. Next up is the green Abishai, and it's a little bit weaker, though not by much, honestly. It's a challenge rating 15.
Okay.
Armor class 18, hit points 195, walking 30, fly 40. Same resistances, but it's only immune to fire and poison.
Okay.
And then it has same telepathy, same devil's sight, same magic resistance. That's something to remember. They all have magic resistance. That means they're automatically getting advantage on saves made against fireballs, made against saves that you try to throw at them with spells.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yes.
Multi-attack, 2 Fiendish Claws attacks, or it makes 1 Fiendish Claw attack and uses spellcasting. So it can still make a claw attack and spellcast.
Right.
Very good. Fiendish Claws +8 to hit. 2d8 plus 3 force damage, and if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 16 con saving throw or take 3d10 poison damage and become poisoned for a minute.
Wow.
It can repeat the saving throw on the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on success.
That's pretty good.
But they don't build up a resistance.
Hmm.
So they can be poisoned again right away.
Yeah.
Abishai the Abishai. And then for spellcasting, at wills are Alter Self and Major Image, which are very good.
Yeah.
3 a day, Charm Person, Detect Thoughts, and Fear.
Yeah.
And 1 a day, confusion, dominate person, and mass suggestion.
Man, if you catch a low wisdom group,
Yep.
this is much more deadly than the 17th level.
Well, and the best part
the
is
CR
it doesn't
rating.
even use wisdom. It uses charisma, spell save 17.
Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. You're gonna have to think of what you're doing. You're gonna have to plan. This is not something you want to pull for a random.
Yeah, you don't just throw this out there because most parties don't have high charisma.
Yeah, and you start throwing up the illusions and things like that. Very nice.
Yeah, this thing's very good. Next up are the red Abishais, which are leadership and raw power, and you're going to see that. Challenge rating's 19.
Yeah.
AC's 22. HP's 289. Speed 30, fly 50. Same resistances. Same immunities as the last one, fire and poison, but it's also immune to being frightened. It still has Devil Sight, still has magic resistance. Then its multi-attacks are 1 bite attack and 1 claw attack, and it can use its frightful presence or incite fanaticism. We're going to get into those. The bite is plus 12 to hit, 3d10 plus 6 piercing damage,
Yeah.
plus 7d10 fire damage. Very solid.
Yeah.
The claw is plus 12 to hit, 2d10 plus 6 force damage, plus 2d10 fire damage. Frightful Presence, each creature of the Abishai's choice that is within 120 feet and aware of the Abishai must succeed on a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened of it for a minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. If it's successful or the effect ends for it, it's immune to Frightful Presence for the next 24 hours. So you do get resistance to this at least.
Yeah.
But it's very good still.
It is. It's. If you got a group of characters prepared for this fight, though, they're gonna rip through it.
Yeah, but it's still got some more tricks up its sleeve.
Okay.
Incite Fanaticism, which is where you're going to want to have some other stuff to back it up. It chooses up to 4 other creatures within 60 feet of it that can see it. Till the start of the Abishai's next turn, each of those creatures makes attack rolls with advantage and can't be frightened.
Okay.
So you get some good options there. And then it has Power of the Dragon Queen. It targets 1 dragon it can see within 120 feet of it. The dragon must make a DC 18 Charisma saving throw. A chromatic dragon makes this save with disadvantage. On a successful save, the target is immune to the Abishai's Power of the Dragon Queen for an hour. On a failed save, the target is charmed by the Abishai for an hour. While charmed in this way, the target regards the Abishai as a trusted friend to be heeded and protected. The effect ends if the Abishai or its companions deal damage to the target. So if you show up with a dragon,
Yeah.
or you have something that lets you summon a dragon, the Abishai can go, that's my dragon now.
Right.
Which is very good.
It is. It's very.
It's very specific.
It's very specific. It's very That's the thing about this. That's kind of funny. It's not. It's going to be the right group. The right group's going to have an easy time with this.
Yeah.
All right, setup. There's the wrong group, of course, will get rolled through. And that sounds like, well, doesn't that work for everything?
Right.
Yeah, but not
like that.
Not to the extremes that this one would go when you're looking at 19th level.
Yeah.
Because I think once you hit, if you ran, it could be really tough at 19th level. Once all the characters hit 20th level, if they ran into one of this, I think they go through it pretty quick.
Well, imagine you're level 16, 17.
Yeah.
And you run across one of these on its own. It doesn't have anybody else with it.
Yeah, that's a tough fight.
That's a tough fight. And especially if you have a totem of or a token of a chromatic dragon, and you call that in because you're struggling, and that chromatic dragon comes in to help you, and the Abishai goes, yoink.
Yeah. Very nice.
You're probably not walking out of this encounter anymore. So
No.
yeah, it's a pretty interesting monster. This next one is kind of a step back from that. This is more of your rank and file soldier, the white Abishai, and it is CR6. It's a lot weaker. AC of 15 still though. It's CR6, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And 68 hit points.
That's pretty good.
Walking 30, fly 40. It is resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. And at CR6, you're probably going to run into that more often than you would at CR7.
Yeah.
I still think by CR6, by 6th level, you're probably going to have some magical stuff.
Well, by that time, the monk's fists are already
Right, they're already magic.
So
Unless you use this as a boss.
for low level, yeah. Oh, that's a bad idea.
Now, this thing has some interesting abilities because it still has Devil Sight, it still has Magic Resistance, but it also has Reckless. At the start of its turn, it can gain advantage on I'm sorry, all melee weapon attack rolls during that turn, but attack rolls against it have advantage until the start of its next turn,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It has one bite attack, one claw attack, and one longsword attack as part of its multi-attack. It can do all three.
Okay.
So +6 to hit on the bite, 1d4 plus 3 piercing, plus 1d6 cold.
Yeah.
The claw is +6 to hit, 1d10 plus 3 slashing. And then the longsword is +6 to hit, 1d8 plus 3 force, and 1d8 plus 3 force damage if it's used with two hands.
That's
Or
interesting.
1d10, sorry,
1d10.
if it used two hands.
Force damage.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Then it has a reaction, which is the only one of the Abishais to have a reaction. Vicious Reprisal. In response to taking damage, the Abishai makes one bite attack against a random creature within 5 feet of it. If no creature is within reach, the Abishai moves up to half its speed towards an enemy it can see without provoking opportunity attacks. So this is a pretty solid boss monster early on, and honestly not a bad rank and file soldier for later encounters.
No, not at all. Not at all. I've got one small complaint with all these things so far, but we'll wait till the end of it. See what it says when we get through the... One more?
That's all the Abishais.
Okay. So we got a 6, 7, 15, 17, 19.
Yeah.
I wish it was spread out a little bit more.
I do too. I wish that there was something that was around the 12 mark.
Yeah. So like maybe 6. We bump that other one up to 8 maybe. And then you'd have 12, 15, 16, and then 19.
I think that would work really better. But
yeah. Well, that would make for you've got your campaign written for you.
Yeah.
At that level.
Yeah, you're fighting Abishais as you get closer to Tiamat.
Yeah, you'll go through everything. You get Abishai. You go through everything. You get an Abishai. You know, these are who you're trying to stop and take down.
I could see a really fun, tough encounter though, at like 19th, 20th level against one of each of these.
Oh yeah,
all working together.
All together, yeah.
Because the white one at that point is not going to be that tough.
No.
But you got to deal with it moving towards you after you do damage to it.
Yeah.
Locking you down, while the black one is stealthing and going for the poison, while the red one is giving them all advantage, and the blue one and the green one are just casting at you.
Right. They're pretty cool in concept. Overall.
Yeah.
Like that's my one little complaint from it. And that's just on the DM side.
Yeah.
Because maybe being a little bit lazy. It's like, hey. But then again, like on the 7th level one, if I throw it in plate armor,
right,
all of a sudden it's got a much higher AC.
That's right, and it's going to be a better challenge.
Yeah, so.
And this, I think, is a pretty strong start, honestly.
Yeah.
Of, hey, here's 5 monsters that all are from the same family.
Yes.
Different variations of them. They all have different abilities. You can mix and match them as you like. You could take a red and drop it down.
Yeah.
Make it less HP, less AC, and be able to have a really interesting low-level encounter with that.
Yeah.
Maybe make that ability also work on dragonlings or drakes.
Well, even if you have, let's say, just as a DM, even if you have just these 5,
yeah,
you've got, like I said, you've got a campaign going because you've got these monsters. They can keep running to it, and they've got a tied-in lore together.
Yeah,
all tied together. It feels good. It feels right. Yeah, I think it's a good start.
And I'd like to ask, because I think this would be a cool thing to add in as we go over the monsters from now on. What would you run with these if you were to add something? Because my mind immediately goes to cultists.
Cultists, Kenkus,
kobolds.
Kobolds will be kobolds are not Kenkus.
Right, I knew what you meant.
Cultists and kobolds will be good.
Yeah.
I would probably throw in. You'd probably have a couple of the archwizards.
Yeah.
That might take the 12th level area.
Right.
To go through. And then I'd be using anything I could with that dealing with the chromatic dragons.
Yeah, for sure.
So they'd be foot soldiers that were dragonborn.
Yeah.
Ollie, what have you got? Salamanders.
Oh yeah, and you've got lizard folk that you can tie into there too.
Tie in there.
You've got what are they called? The ones that live underground that worship dragons that stink.
Oh, troglodytes.
Troglodytes. Yeah,
you got troglodytes you can throw in there.
You got so many options to really just buff this out into a full Tiamat campaign.
Yeah. Oh, and unless you have the Venture Book Tiamat.
Right. And what you were missing really in that kind of campaign were the elites, right? It was the bosses.
Yeah.
And that's where I think these Abishais really shine. They make good individual encounters, but they also make really interesting boss fights, I think.
Yeah.
So
If you use these as individuals, I think if you stick, just as a slight rule of thumb, if you stick 2 levels below CR, so if you got 4, you'd run into the black dragon one at 5th level.
Right. I agree. All right. Well, we'll come back next week with. It will be next week. Yeah. I'm double checking dates in my mind. We'll be back next week with. I don't want to. Oh, I'm going to tease you with the name of this.
Okay.
The Alhoon.
Okay.
And the rest of the A's. And there's so many good monsters to come. If you have just listened to us talk about the races and the player side of things, please stick with us because I promise you the DM side of things is also super interesting. Because one of the things we love most about talking about these monsters, how would we use them? How would we augment them? How would we change them? What do we think about them? And I think that discussion isn't just for DMs, even though DMs probably benefit the most from it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into it. You try to talk about where we use them, or in a session, or like this, like a campaign. Like you got a whole campaign lined out there with your 5 bosses.
Yeah, just from 5 monsters, really.
Yeah, in the first 5. So.
And if you're on D&D Beyond, you don't even have to buy the whole book to get these 5. You can just buy these monsters.
Yeah.
Buy the Abishai section, and there you go.
Yeah, and if you're hearing this for the first time, you'll hear us mention D&D Beyond a lot.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored. We use it.
Yeah.
We use it weekly.
It is worth it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back, of course, Tuesday. Still live here on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Thursday.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check out Rungren's music.
Yes, please.
He always puts out some good stuff there.
Banana.
And I don't know who that is calling me. They'll have to wait. But yeah, with all that said, I've been Trey.
And I. Here, have the mouse.
Thank you.
I've been Rungren.
And we've been the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum.